Hello everyone, and I want to welcome you all to another series. In this series, I decided that I want to talk about my favorite singer, songwriter, producer, and musician of all time. I enjoyed talking about En Vogue, and En Vogue was just something that I wanted to do, and then I thought about, well, let me talk about another artist. And since I've been sharing with some of my followers my music collection, and so I decided today what I would do is talk about Angela Winbush. That is correct, Angela Winbush. I want to talk about her today. And well, let's get started. I came across Angela Winbush musically. There were three songs, I believe, there were three songs. You Don't Have to Cry, I'll Be Good, and then it's Angel. So let me take that back. I'll Be Good, You Don't Have to Cry, Angel, and then it's The Real Thing. And this is the cover, the CD cover for The Real Thing, the CD that Angela Winbush released in 1989. Now, I remember, well, let me tell you this story. Let me just tell you the story, my Angela Winbush story, like how I became a diehard fan of Angela Winbush. Let's start with It's the Real Thing CD. I really don't have a script or anything that I just kind of wrote down, so I'm just really and truly just talking, out of the top of my head of all the things that I know, because again, I followed her career just like I followed En Vogue's career, so I just know a lot about her. So it wasn't 1989 when I purchased this CD. It was a couple of years after 1989. I was visiting my aunt for the summer, and my birthday is in June. And so visiting her for the summer, she asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I told her, I said, I want a jersey and I want an Angela Winbush CD. And she was like, oh, okay. So she took me to the store to get the jersey. And then she took me to a music store to get a CD by Angela Winbush. Now, I think it was this CD. This was my very first CD that I ever owned. My very first one. And again, I think I was probably about 16 at the time. So I was turning 17. And I recall looking at this record, opening up the cover, and realizing that it said, ooh, I'm ripping up the cover. Ooh, it's really ripping up now. It said that all songs were written. Ooh, like I said, I've had it a while now. It said all songs were produced, written, arranged, and performed by Angela L. Winbush for A. Winbush Productions Incorporated. This is the time when I learned about music production. Like I was taken aback by, let's just say, Patti LaBelle in her performance with Dionne Warwick and Gladys Knight on Sister in the Name of Love. I definitely wanted to dance on the ceiling after seeing Lionel Richie perform. And then the Pointer Sisters, like that video with I'm So Excited, I just really knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry just based off those three artists alone. And then when I came across Angela Winbush opened up my understanding about being a producer and a musician in the music industry and all the things that went on behind the scene. So she's the one I give credit for inspiring me to want to know more about music. And so I purchased the CD, and here's a story that some of you guys probably going to laugh at just to show how naive I was and how I really thought this lady was a total genius. So when I got the CD, I played it, and she of course has all the lyrics to the songs on the cover. And I was listening to the songs, reading the lyrics at the same time, trying to, learn the songs. And I recall when I discovered that she did the lead and the background vocals and the vocal arrangements, I'm literally thinking that Angela Winbush was singing the lead and the background vocals at the same time. And I'm like, wow, this lady is really bad. Like, she does all of this. So yeah, it's kind of, funny now, but at the time, I really and truly was serious about thinking that she was just singing straight through the songs. Then, of course, I learned about, what was involved with production. So, I knew about Angela, as I said before. I knew of her with Rene and Angela, but I was familiar with the song You Don't Have to Cry and I'll Be Good. I was somewhat familiar with Save Your Love for Number One, as well as Your Smile. And there's another song that was released on the Streetcar Desire CD titled No How, No Way. But it was I'll Be Good and You Don't Have to Cry. My mother had the 45 for You Don't Have to Cry at the time. So, of course, that's how I knew about You Don't Have to Cry. Then, of course, she comes out with Angel. She comes out with Angel on the Sharp CD in 1987. So I knew of Angel. I think I maybe heard Run to Me, but I'm not too sure, about the song. But I think I recall Run to Me. But I'll Be Good, You Don't Have to Cry, and Angel really stood out. Okay, now, so when I came across Angela Winbush with The Real Thing, I was like, wow, this lady, she's awesome. Like, I want to know more about her. Well, then in 1989, I came across the Isley Brothers CD, Spend the Night. Now I'm real heavy in music. Like, I'm literally glued into BET. I'm watching all of the programs on BET. I'm watching MTV, all of that stuff. Like, I'm just really gravitating towards music. And so I'm like, wow, okay. The Isley Brothers have a song out that I like called Spend the Night. Not thinking too much of anything about it. Now that I'm listening to music a lot, and maybe I'm guessing anywhere between 10 and 12 years old at this time. So I'm like, oh, okay, I want to know more about, the Isley Brothers. I knew of them with maybe For the Love of You and For the Love of You and Footsteps in the Dark and all of that, but I really knew of them because of the Between the Sheets CD. I think they released in 1983. So I knew a lot about that CD. And so now I go out and I purchase this CD, and I'm finding that it says all of the songs were written and arranged by Angela Winbush. So now I'm discovering, wow, not only does she's a writer for herself, she's doing this for other artists. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really enjoying Angela, so on and so forth. Then I come across Stephanie Mills, who released a record in 1989 titled Home, and she has a song on there called Something in the Way You Make Me Feel. Not thinking anything has anything to do with the other. As I was saying before, I'm just really into music. So when I purchased this CD, I find out Angela Winbush has, produced 2 songs on this record, Something in the Way You Make Me Feel and So Good, So Right. Now, I'm going now and I'm looking at, my mother has I think she has the 45 for I've Learned to Respect the Power of Love. And that's when I discovered, because Angela Winbush did a cover of I Learned to Respect the Power of Love on the It's the Real Thing CD. So now I'm discovering I Learned to Respect the Power of Love and realizing that Rene and Angela wrote I Learned to Respect the Power of Love. So I'm like, wow, okay, this lady, she's, been around for a minute. She is doing her thing. And so I'm just liking everything that I'm hearing from her at the time. And so then I start to check her out a little bit more, and that's when I discovered that she produced the Smooth Sailing CD by the Isley Brothers. So I'm like, wow, okay. You know, Rene and Angela, her own record, Angel, Something in the Way You Made Me Feel, I Learned to Respect the Power of Love. You know, this is, like I said, 1989, 1990. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, this lady is bad. You know, I'm really digging, you know, what she has going on here. And so I'm like, I was an Isley brother. I like the Isley Brothers music. I'll put it that way. I wasn't a fan, but I like the Isley Brothers music. And Angela pretty much made me a fan of the Isley Brothers because I was a fan of all of Angela Winbush's music. So now I'm going back, learning about the Isley Brothers between the sheets, learning, you know, the entire Isley Brothers catalog. Then, you know, of course, as you all Angela Winbush fans know, that of course she has teamed up with Ronald Isley musically, and eventually they started dating and then eventually get married. Then she has a duet on this record with Ron Isley entitled Lay Your Troubles Down, which eventually became a video. They released a single, released a video. So I'm learning, you know, that there's more to this. I'm seeing Angela Winbush and Ron Isley on BET Video Soul during this time. So I'm like, wow, okay, well, they're a couple, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff. So this is how I've gravitated towards Angela Winbush and how I got introduced to her. And I think I'm at a good stopping point because I want to keep these videos kind of short and, well, short and simple. So what I'm going to do right now, I think I'm probably around the 15-minute mark. So why don't you go ahead on and hit the like button, and I'll be right back.